Hello, everybody out there in YouTube land or wherever you may be watching. And welcome back to another episode of Last Week Today Live. And I'm trying to get all in touch here. And again, we're up in the living room. I like doing the living room just because I like having my wife and my son here. And they're both here. You want to say hi, honey?
Hi.
Spine Ticks Wasabi to you as well, sir. Matt Woods, everybody. Morning, Zach. Yeah, my wife is off camera. The little guy is also here, but he's starting to look very tired. He's in koala bear mode, so I think he's going to be passing out. So you may or may not hear him screech throughout this live stream, which, depending, some people like hearing the screech, some people don't. So we'll see how that goes. But I'm just going to give everybody a couple minutes to get in. Yes, hey again, sir. You might notice I didn't pick a topic for this week. And yes, that is completely by accident. It's not on purpose, but we'll see how it goes. There's a couple of things going on too. Madman Master, hello. I was going to say promise not to bring up any C2E2, but there's one little update on that. I thought that was interesting. Main event, David, congratulations on your win, sir. Okay, just give everybody a couple more minutes here, a couple more seconds rather, and then we'll jump into it. Yeah, just totally, I don't want to say off topic because we didn't even get into a topic yet, but I just had a little Whatnot notification. I wonder if, has anybody here used Whatnot? What are your impressions on that? So I've watched a couple things. I've never bought or sold anything off of Whatnot. I don't know. I don't know if it's just the fast pacedness of it or whatever. It just doesn't appeal to me for some reason. It feels like a little scammy almost. And I'm not saying everybody on Whatnot is scamming. It's just, I don't know. That's the feel here. Trev? Did my first sale last weekend. How did it go? How did you like it? Oh, that good. Main event. I should just click these on the screen here. Main event did his first live stream sale on Whatnot last weekend, and I guess it didn't go too well. It looks like it's the type of thing that maybe you might not get too good at first, but you just kind of fall into it a lot like YouTube. But you're bored already? So that's, my son is giving me the hook already. So I guess we'll start officially. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, welcome. I didn't have any pickups this week. I can tell you that my two of my three shipments from what is it called? Unknown comic book store, unknown out in what do you call it? Texas. See, my brain doesn't work that fast either, Zach. That's why I've got some coffee and may need some more to get through the stream. Yeah, I had made an order back in April, and their shipping is kind of weird. It's 21 days. Hey, Brian, 21 days from the street date. So 25 bucks after fees. I made 27. Is that including shipping? Yeah, they have like a street date of 21 days. So it's like, and of course, I didn't get anything in 21 days from them saying it was shipping out. So I called them yesterday, which would have been the 22nd date after the street date. Like, oh, we just didn't hit the button. So they've hit the button now. So two of the three shipments should be coming this week. I do not think I'm visiting the LCS this week, perhaps sometime during the week after. But I know there's some stuff there. He just actually got a collection in. So stay tuned because he got some really good, I don't know if they're technically Silver Age, but some Bronze Age stuff coming in. Well, main event, that's at least a good thing here. So let me go through what I did read. And these are things that I showed off, I think, last week. You good, buddy? He was starting to cry a little bit, so I had to check. First, This is a book, if you've watched my channels again, need a better looking mug. Hey, if you want to give me an Alex Ross mug, I'm perfectly cool with that. My wife has a moratorium on me buying coffee mugs.
Plenty of ones.
See, she says we have plenty. I would say, well, look, I could retire one and use it for pens, but she's not a fan of that. But this is actually a really cool mug. I got this as a gift. It's a giant-sized X-Men, and it's a pretty good-sized mug as well. Matt Woods, and yes, these are my comic reading / coffee drinking gloves. Yeah, no, my wife has a moratorium on buying any more mugs. So, she didn't say anything about people gifting me mugs. So, hint, hint. Anyway, this is Monstrous, issue 41. Monstrous is a great series that I've been reading since the get-go. It was actually my first yellow label that I ever got signed at Midtown. Been intending on telling that story on the channel for a while. I'm waiting for my friend Mark to become available because he came with me. But yeah, Blasters, I'm glad that you're here for many reasons. But I wanted to show you this great art style on this of Santa Takeda. I'm probably butchering the name. And I just like it's very intricate. This is like the back of every book, but it's very intricate and trying to show something that's not a spoiler because this is kind of towards the end of the series, even though it's not over yet. Here, I'll just show. Here's a picture. See, trying to avoid spoilers, but very intricate and detailed. It almost looks like something you'd see like in a, I think like in an old school kind of European tapestry, but more ornate than that. And it's a great series, very unique story. It's more of like a fantasy story, and I'm not one to read a lot of fantasy books whatsoever. It's also, I have to say, I know that it won an Eisner the first time it was out. Main event, that's very funny. I'm going to put that on the screen. Hold on. It's the thing with the gloves is that it doesn't pick up, at least not these ones on the screen. Yeah, it won an Eisner the first year the series was out. Oh, the whole series is beautifully done. It all has that same attention to detail. And it's the story itself, again, as I said, it's more of a fantasy story, more female-led than male-led. And the reason I kind of bring that up here, hey, Durs, the reason I kind of bring that up here is that it's not something that's consciously done like it's bashing over the head with it. It's just it fits very well into the story. I highly recommend this series. I've been doing that for a long time. This is at issue 41. I thought that it was ending in September. They're actually taking a break until October when they're going to actually start the final kind of volume of the series. If you haven't read it by now, I don't know if you get lucky and find it in your LCS for cheap or just out in the wild for cheap, but I would recommend investing in either, I don't think they have an Omni, but some trades or whatnot, because it is a beautifully done and very unique series. Next is New Think 2.0, issue 2. They do these .0s because it's about technology. And I didn't like this issue as much as I enjoyed the first one. It's clear that this is a series of anthology kind of style books where you have a different artist but the same writer each time, and it's basically about some kind of aspect of technology. The first issue my wife read and she talked about last time. This one she hasn't read yet. I don't know if it's something I would actually recommend. It's more of, I think, a story about they do it kind of like a fairy tale style, but it's about doxing and really, I guess, kind of images that you project of yourself on Facebook or other social media. The thing that really I didn't like about it, it was a slog of a story. It wasn't very easy to read. And it feels like they kind of tried to fit in some kind of a political undertone in it. Now, when it comes to political issues, whether it be wokeness or whatnot, the only time I don't mind it in a book is if it's subtly done. And Monstrous is a good kind of example of that. And I shouldn't say wokeness or anything like that, because it's not. It's really not like that. But another example is, I'd have to say, Peter David's second volume of X Factor. I think it was actually the third volume overall of the series, and I've talked about that in the past. I'm not going to knock you over the head with it, but it's a good example of where you're bringing in political perspective, but you're not bashing people over the head with it. It's easier to have a conversation than to be shouted out. But this, again, there's kind of undertone, but it's done in a way that kind of feels like they're trying to commit to it, but not really. And it just kind of confused it. Honey, I know that you read the first volume. Did you want to read the second issue of this?
Maybe. But you say you wouldn't recommend it, so I don't know.
Yeah, maybe it's just me. If you want to take a look, you can. I'll put it aside, and you could let me know later. For the record, she did read, again, the New Think issue 1. I think there's 5 issues that's going to come out in total. I don't know what the next issue is going to be, but it does look like a cool cover. I did ask her to read Variants last week. She didn't want to read it. So
no, I didn't not want to read it. I had things to do.
Okay. It's a quick read. Well, anytime you want, honey, you can grab it. You know that.
It's hard to find free time. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. And don't get me wrong, I'm not jumping on my wife at all or anything like that. It's hard. She's doing a lot of housework. She's taking care of the baby. I'm downstairs working. It's, we both do a lot around the house, and I can understand that maybe her idea of relaxing is not sitting and reading a comic. But that's totally up to her. She knows that we have a basement full of them whenever she wants to read. Now, the next issue I read was actually something from Legacy Comics. And I did read a fair amount of my stuff from Legacy Comics. I think I showed that off last week. If not, you could certainly look on my Instagram. I know I showed them off too. If you're new to the channel, careful. Yes, Master and Madam say careful. Treading very lightly, sir. That would. If you're newer to the channel, I interviewed. Excuse me. Need some water for that. Madam and bonbons, I got myself into big trouble. Excuse me. I'm going to put you up on the screen. Yeah, you know what? I asked Madam, and I don't know if anybody else knows this. I can't remember the last time I've seen a bonbon. It's got to be the late 80s or early 90s, I'm thinking. 'Cause I remember, like, the first time seeing them, I think was on an episode of Married with Children. I just remember she got, like, a personal trainer, and he was, like, trying to, like, why aren't you doing anything? And she's eating bonbons, and he tried one, and then you saw, like, 2 months later, he was just a bonbons addict, and I think he had a heart attack. But, yeah, we used to get bonbons when I was a kid, and I couldn't tell you the last time I've seen them.
I don't think it's as popular as it used to be.
I don't know if it's around. Yes, Matt Woods.
So either.
Yeah, so if you're newer to the channel, I did do an interview with the gentleman who is now the sole owner, from what I understand, of Legacy Comics, Patrick Hickey Jr., and Pat does a fair amount of the writing as well. I encourage you, if you haven't already, to look at that interview. They've got some great stuff going on, and one of the things I appreciate about Pat is that he's very much kind of like punk rocking it. He tells a story. He sat down and just writing. His main book, Condry, is, I think he wrote it, he said, when he was 18. He's been writing and rewriting it since. And then now he's writing like 8 different books. But this is one of them. This one, I'm not going to lie to you, was definitely not my favorite. This is Kroom number 0, and he signed this for me. I'm not going to lie to you. The art, I think, is not great. I mean, they have a good sense of figure and whatnot in here. I'll show you the inside. And one thing I'm going to say is that most of the Legacy books, these are all issue 0s. I think these are meant to be previews. Most of them, if you do order, are only 8 pages long. So you're not getting a full story, but within those 8 pages, you can get a great story. I feel like everything would work a little bit better if you put maybe them together in an anthology. But like as I said here, like this first page is okay with the guns, But when you get to more over here, like the figures, you kind of lose me. And even the city looks a little off to me. The story itself, I mean, what you can tell again in 8 pages, it's kind of more like a RoboCop with a kind of like an alien invasion fantasy type of theme, which is just okay. It didn't really go too much into it. Already digging your channel and vibe. Very knowledgeable, and I love that you show off that not so mainstream books. Thank you, Durs. I appreciate that. I have you on my playlist to check out. I like to watch videos or listen to videos while I'm doing something else, like, just like Brian said too earlier today. Hey, Kenneth, I'm sorry I didn't see you come in. So yours is one of the ones I have queued up for later today. Next is from Image, and I should point out too, Durs, is that I read a lot of Marvel stuff. This just happens to be kind of in the order I read things. I just kind of hit a peak of non-Marvel stuff. This is Undiscovered Country, issue 19, and I have both covers on this. This is the Dan Panosian one. And this is the one I prefer. This is just kind of the Stars and Stripes one. I always try to get the Dan Panosian covers when I see them because Panosian, he's Armenian.
I was going to say Armenian.
My wife is Armenian, and yeah, whenever I see it, it's kind of like one of those things like, oh, let me grab it. Undiscovered Country's been a somewhat interesting story. It's kind of lagging a little bit for me. It's starting to feel a little obtuse, to be honest with you. They are entering a new area of the country. If you haven't seen it, if you haven't read it before, basically the plot is in this future. We'll have you ordering those books. New Think #1 is on the way. Main event. Let me know how you like it. Yeah, I like the variant. Oh, I should say too, by the way, Kroom, and I didn't know this until afterwards. Steve Kanger, who, if you read if you're a fan of the Reggie channel, Reggie Collects, you may know. He also has a book with M. Renfield. Does a variant for it. If I knew he did the variant, I would have ordered that one because I like Kanger's stuff. And he's actually going to be the regular artist on one of their other series. But Undiscovered Country, in short, in this kind of apocalyptic future, America has sealed itself off from the rest of the country, and about rest of the world rather. 20, 30 years later, a mysterious message is sent from the middle of America, and this group of people from all over the world try to go into the country, and they find that it's been divided into different sections, and it gets very kind of interesting from there. We'll put it that way. And this all started, by the way, the series started right before COVID hit, and there were so many different kind of parallels. It's written by Scott Snyder and Charles Soule, and they both had to do kind of a letter like, hey, look, we didn't see this coming either. You know, we're not trying to duplicate what's going on in the real world. Just bear with us. But yeah, this why don't we say this issue was not my favorite, and I'm looking forward to future ones just to see how the story goes. This next one, Main Event, this is one I recommended to you, and this is possibly my favorite from Legacy Comics so far. This is The Job, issue 0. Art is by gotta go. Oh, Madam has to go. She says have a good weekend, a good week. This is sorry, I lost my train of thought. Art by Kyle Quinn, I believe his name is. Kieran Quinn, that's it. Steve Kanger, though, is going to be the regular artist on this. Issue 1 pre-sales just opened up this past week. They're promoting it heavily on their social media. This is an awesome concept. So you've got this main character here and his wife. He is a amateur wrestler. He's a jobber. You know, he's the guy whose job is basically to go and make other people look better. And he's kind of disenchanted with it because he's not excelling in his league, in his sport. Yeah, just have a good day.
Thank you. You too.
Oh, she's going to Mom. Yep. So people look because he's got a pretty big lifestyle. He tries to get a loan from a bank. He gets rejected because he's Barry Horowitz. I don't know. Yeah, Zach, I'm not sure what the reference is. I'm not huge into wrestling myself, to be honest with you, but I know enough to know he's not one of the main guys. Um, so basically, to make ends meet, he and his wife decide that they are going to rob banks, and that's the whole premise of this. And that's all you really get from issue 0. But this is a great example of how 8 pages you get a whole lot of information, and you do get a good section of story, at least in that 8 pages. Whereas Kroom kind of went around. Yeah, okay, precisely. That's basically who he is, Zach. Um, whereas Kroom kind of like never gets off the ground, in my opinion. The job does, and I'm really excited to read issue 1 when that does come out. Yeah, I'd have to say I was thinking this might be my favorite from Legacy. Country I love as well, but this one is just such a great concept. And again, that's the job. I recommend checking that out. If I had to pick one from Legacy, I would say pick that one out. But if you do pick one, get that and also get Country. 8 Billion Genies, issues 2 and issues 3. It's a good concept. I know a lot of people have been talking about this. And I think it's interesting to see how the story itself is somewhat evolving, given that they're almost halfway into the series by now. And by the end of the 3rd issue, I'm trying to really kind of interested in seeing what's going on with these genies, why are they here, what are they doing? Because I feel like it's going to be something. It's got to be something more sinister. That's just my impression. So still more mystery than answers at this point, but it's still a very enjoyable book. I'm also interested in seeing, because they've optioned it for a series, how that would work. I got 1 to 4 ordered online, praying it's a good read. The 8 Billion Genies. Yeah, I mean, I think you can't go wrong, to be honest with you, with it. At least I can attest the first 3 issues have been good. 4th one I'm picking up, probably not this coming week, but the following week. Next is a series I have never read before, but the way people were talking about this issue, I understand. The little guy's chiming in. I understand that it's not what the story typically is, and I'm glad I picked it up. This was Ice Cream Man number 31. This was a book, and again, like I said, I don't typically read this. Every so often, as an adult, I've read a handful of books that give you that kind of gut punch after you read it. You know, where you get like a little teary-eyed or misty. And to me, this is one of them, because this, holy crap, this knocked me on the ground. I can't say that I'm going to be a regular Ice Cream Man reader, but this issue was just amazing. To be honest with you, this is one I would usually recommend that my wife reads, but I know that she gets very emotionally involved in the story or whatnot, and I feel like if she read this, it would knock her off the rest of the day. It would make her upset, I should say, the rest of the day. But it's truly a great story. If you go to your LCS and they have them, this is one that you can check out without feeling, oh, I get ripped off or something like that. No, it's a great, great issue. I might even read it again, to be honest with you. Again, that's Ice Cream Man number 31. This is a blast from the past. This is Prophet Remastered. Yeah, I went from Ice Cream Man to Prophet. And I got the Stephen Platt cover, the splat cover, if you will. Prophet's kind of weird because I remember reading him in the 90s. I couldn't tell you anything about the character or anything about the stories I read. All I remember is I got a couple of his issues, and then he crossed over into a couple other books I was reading. Like I was reading Evangeline because I was a 14, 15-year-old creep, like everybody was, I think, in the 90s. And that's really all I remember with this. But I have to say, this was surprisingly, like, really good. I thought it would be a little jarring because it was something where each page, you're 100% right, each page is drawn by a different artist. Some you may know, some you may not. And some of them I feel like get a little ripped off. Is Ice Cream Man related to the movie starring the great Clint Howard? I don't know. It does look like him though, and I've heard that joke on it too. Either that or I know that like here in Jersey, if we go down the shore, like to Asbury Park, there's the little insignia, the smiling guy. You know what I'm talking about? Is it by the Rainbow Bar? It's an iconic thing I can't think of, but yeah, it kind of looks like him a little bit. I have to get a picture of that. I'm streaming from a phone, so I can't do a screen share to look it up and show you. But if you probably know, yeah, no, I know it's horror themed, but this one definitely wasn't that, and that's why I'm saying I can't recommend the rest of the series. That particular issue was recommended to me, and I was like, yeah. But Prophet, yeah. Every page is drawn by a different artist. Some of them you may know, some of them you may not know. And I was afraid it might be a little bit jarring. And I mean, some people like, I feel like they kind of didn't get the best opportunity to show their work. Like, what's his name? Rockaport is somebody I really, really enjoyed his artwork. And his page, I felt like the character was obscured too much. But then you see other great artists that you may not know, like V. Ken Marion. He's done a lot of, I think, DC work. He has a page in here. I know him from the Digging from Kryptonite podcast that our buddy Anthony Desiato does, and I recommend you checking that out if you haven't before. But yeah, I was really surprised how good of a read this is. So Prophet Remastered #1, and I thought it was a one shot. I think they're doing another one though. I have 2 more books from Legacy. This was The Legend of the Night Owl, #0, and again, this is a very short read. I have to say, art in this is beautiful. Like, this is something that I may trying to just get it out here to show you. Like, if I have a chance to get original art from somebody unknown, this first page is just great. And I should note that this is not written by Patrick Hickey like most of the other Legacy books, but it has that same kind of feel that Kanger does as far as Brooklyn goes. I have to say, though, the exposition in this writing really hampers the story, in my opinion, at least. I see where they're going with the story, and it's okay. But I'll give you an example. This is from the first page. Again, there's no spoilers. So they're trying to point out this is a bad area of Brooklyn. This is a bad future version of Brooklyn. So here it is. The epicenter of a crumbling New York City. Streets are thick with garbage. Sanitation workers are sick of being both killed, robbed, or both. It made me laugh when I read this the first time, because I was like, so are these garbage workers, are these garbage men like coming home like, holy crap, honey, you won't believe what happened to me. I got mugged, and then they shot me again, like the 4th time this week. Like, they're getting robbed and killed, and they're sick and tired of it. Like, it happens over and over again. I don't know. I know what he's trying to get at, but it kind of overdid it, at least for me. And that whole page goes more and more into how broken this area of Brooklyn is. Dirty cops investigate division and hate. Underfunded police can't make a dent in the unparalleled rise of violent crime. They are at best a chaotic neutral in these broken times. Drug use, prostitution, what we pretend to not know about society roam here. Gangs take on retro means of boisterous expression with outrageous outfits, names, and weapons to match. Rich and poor couldn't be further from one another. The violence of the 70s, the consumerism of the 80s, and the pop culture of the 90s, jacked up on cocaine and steroids. Yeah, it's very wordy. Thank you, Zach, for bringing that up. And at that point, too, it's just kind of like it's hitting you over the head with it. Like, I was depressed after reading the first page. Some of the imagery is gross. Like, I kind of get it. Like, there's again, just kind of beautiful artwork as far as this top page goes, I think, with the coffee. This other one, they're talking about like a restaurant called Mama Bird, which that's where's that disgusting image is from. And it is a gross image. There is a little nod to Streets of Rage in here, and I figured that just because the names were familiar, Blaze and Axel, and then I know that Patrick is a huge video game fan. He's written a couple books about video games, but the story itself is just a depressing story. Like, it kind of goes into an area where you're not even seeing Night Owl. At least I think you're just kind of getting a piece of the origin. And I couldn't help but think reading this, like maybe they didn't need to tell this chapter. Maybe this is something that would have been better as backstory, and that you could have referred to or come back to at another point. But yeah, it wasn't my favorite. Artwork on it is fantastic, though. Again, that's the Legend of the Night Owl, and they have different covers for that too. I should add that if you do get something from Legacy Comics, it's Comics with an X. You can also get it online too, and I like their digital books as well. The next is the final of the Legacy Comics books I read this month, and that is from the Godfo universe, a Pylon 20XX. Yeah, that's exactly why I think it's a number zero, Zach. And I have to say, I don't know Godfo, but the art in this book was another one where I thought it was really great. And here they make really good use of the 8-page kind of things. I mean, it's like each page, I guess they're trying to make it like a creation story. So you say on the first day, on the second day, on the third day. And it's whatever this character is, because I'm not familiar with Godfo. I think this is the first chapter of it being created. It's some sort of like a cyborg, I guess. And the black and white works great with it. It creates this kind of mood. And to be honest with you, I think that the 8-page story kind of works in their advantage here, because you do get that kind of this one isn't this page here. This page here is an ad. This one. You do get that kind of big kind of feeling, and yeah, the black and white works on it really well too. This one, if you're going to order from Legacy, I do recommend. Again, that's the Godfo universe, a Pylon 20XX. I might wait until more of these are out there before I go into it, because it looks like on the back of here they have a whole time frame, and I don't know if these are future books or not. They really don't go into it, but you can see there's several titles planned from it, so there's some sort of a plan. But I don't know. I mean, I think I'm going to reach out to Patrick and ask why they only do 8 pages. I don't think it's something about canon. I think it's obviously I think it's got to be expense, but yeah, I think sometimes it works well, sometimes it doesn't. But if they were to just put a couple of them together, I think it'd be great. The final one I read was the only DC book, was the Sandman Universe Nightmare Country #3. We haven't watched Sandman yet. Excuse me. Sorry about that. We have not watched Sandman yet. Thank you, honey. Okay, I think I'm there. Sorry. We haven't watched Sandman yet, but I've been reading this series. Very creepy. Very good, as my wife laughs at me. I like it. It's not like it doesn't feel like a money grab. It actually feels like it adds to the overall universe, the overall story. The version I have, there's a couple different covers. This is by Francavilla, and he does a portion of the interiors in here as well. But hopefully we get to check this out maybe later today. My wife doesn't like to watch anything creepy when it gets dark out, so that's why we haven't checked into it yet. Let me see here. Let's go to some comments. Zach, I'm torn on watching it. I'm wanting to watch it. The part of me that loves Sandman is intrigued, but the part of me that loves Sandman is also worried they'll butcher it. I can understand that, and from what I've seen, Zach, there's a lot of good reviews. From what I understand, Neil Gaiman is behind it 1,000%, and he's had other Sandman projects out there before that he's been like, I'm happy this didn't come to fruition, because this new version is exactly what I think I want from the series. I'm not sure how loyal it is to the original storyline either. I've been purposely avoiding any kind of spoilers discussion about it, but hopefully we'll get to watch it, and I'll let you know. Turs, let's see. That's for me the biggest fear of going live, fighting for my life on video.
I think it's Chad coming out.
Yeah, it's Chad trying to come out. I just feel bad because I'm getting all gross and mucusy for anybody watching. Main event, first episode was fantastic. I have to tell you, we got 5 minutes in because maybe not even 5 minutes. There was a effect that they give, which I think is a cool effect, of Sandman entering the waking world, and his cloak looked very shadowy, and it made my wife a little like, this is too creepy. I can't watch it right now. Yes, Chad senses his opportunity. Look, Chad is going to come back at some point. I can't tell you more. We're trying something soon. I hope soon. I have to reach out to somebody I'm collaborating with on it. So that's everything I read this week. I also did read, I think it was part 3 of Devil's Reign on the Marvel Unlimited app. It was a good story. And I bring this up because I was talking to Main Event during Brian's cast just a few hours ago, about an hour ago rather, about the Marvel Unlimited app. It's something I've subscribed to for a couple of years now. Saves me money in the long run because instead of buying, all the Daredevils and all the Avengers and this, like I can say, all right, well, I'm going to collect what I want to collect, and these I can read later on. There's about a 3-month delay from when the comics are actually printed to when they show on the Unlimited app. And look, if you wanted to read them sooner and you want to do an Unlimited, you could pay for it. But look, if you already have the app, just wait a couple months and it comes out. I've been using it to read big events mostly. Like I read King in Black entirely on the app. And to be honest with you, I know a lot of people are a fan of that storyline. What are you doing, buddy? He just smacked my wife, the baby. Don't do that. I told you. You're going to get in trouble when you're older if you keep doing that. I was saying, I read King in Black and on the Marvel Unlimited app. I'm glad that I read it on the app because I did enjoy the story, in my opinion. Maybe that's just me. Maybe I was too tired when I read it, but whatever. To each their own. I have not checked. Is the app free? Like to read all those back issues like that. It's not free, it's included. I think the premium one I get is like about $100 a year, maybe. So if you read one big crossover like King Black, or like right now I'm reading Devil's Reign, I mean, do the math. You read enough books, it does pay for itself. I do have to say, one of the things I'm disappointed in with it, certain back issues just aren't there. And I don't know if it has anything to do with licensing or, okay, that's not terrible. Yeah. And that's like the higher end one that you get like a box of collectibles with every year. Like they give you some variants, an action figure, and pins and patches and whatnot. There is another option. I think it's about $60 a year, where you you get access to the service. You just don't get any goodies at the end of the year, at the beginning of the year, whatever. Like I said, there are things that are just not on there. For example, there's a run of I have all of the Wolverine books in print. Wolverine Volume 1 in print. First solo series, you know what I mean? The ongoing. There's a span of books, of issues that are just not there. And I don't know what it is, but I know it because there was a issue of Wolverine I wanted to do a video about in the future, where the writer straight up plagiarized a film. And for the longest time, I couldn't find it on the app. I think it just recently came on the app. And I'm not going to tell you which one. Not because I want to save that information for the future video, but because I just can't remember it. And the second one, also from around the same time, I thought was an excellent bookend to the Wolverine Origin series, if you've read that story, where Wolverine, and this is before the events of, was it before House of M, so we knew his origin, he didn't. Just to give you a little background info on it, Wolverine is confronted by who he thinks is a Jean Grey when he's in his dream state, but it's not. We'll just say it like that. Anyway, I thought it was a proper bookend to the end of Origin. Again, if I knew the number off the top of my head, I would certainly let you know about that. Um, it's not necessarily a licensing issue, to be honest with you. I don't think that there is any kind of licensing issue with the writers because these are Marvel's own properties. Wolverine. I know there's a big span of Avengers that aren't there. I don't know what the reason is, to be perfectly honest with you. Um, I could see things like when they've done things like you're not going to find cross community, cross company team ups like they had in the '90s, like Archie meets the Punisher, DC versus Marvel, or when the Marvel characters met the Image characters in individual books. You're not going to see those, and that I can get that, but again, these are their own properties that aren't there. The DC service, to be honest with you, I've been wanting to check out, but I haven't heard great things about it, so I haven't just gotten around to it. And I know that they have a 6-month delay in their books. Now, I meant to sign up for it at the beginning of the summer, but with all the DC Discovery merger news going on, I've stayed away from it. I just like, look, let me just see how everything kind of shakes out first. Yeah, I love those Archie ones too. I didn't know Archie met Jaws. The only ones I were was Archie and the Punisher, and more recently was it I think Archie meets the Ramones. Matt Woods, which was a complete money grab in my opinion, but it worked. Aren't there Marvel Unlimited exclusives books? Main Event, you're completely right. There are, and the only reason I didn't think about those is because the ones I've read, I'll be honest with you, aren't very good in my opinion. Um, and the ones that are decent have been printed later. Like I know there was a Wolverine one. I can't even tell you the name of it, where it just kind of like felt like they could throw it anywhere into this Krakoan age of X-Men, where he was basically invading an Orchid's base. Um, no, Archie meets the Archie. Oh, Archie meets Predator. Yeah, I mean that's not one of the exclusives. You mean the crossovers? No. Archie versus Sharknado. That actually sounds funny. I did. I think that at some point did they kind of like give up on Archie? Like, all right, let's just Archie meets Quantum Leap. I don't know. Archie meets this, and then I know that like 10 years ago they were trying to do, I guess, a more serious version of Archie. I think because of the Riverdale series. But any Archies I have, other than those crossovers, I think have just kind of wound up in my collection from other people. Like, hey, I'm giving away comics. Take these. It's like, oh, Archie, great. Um, it's like Scooby Doo meets the Harlem Globetrotters. And I'll be honest with you, Zach, as a kid watching a lot of Scooby Doo when I was growing up, those were my favorite when they met up with them for some reason. Like I remember Scooby Doo meets up with the Globetrotters, and then like something like Scooby Doo. I feel like Batman and Robin, like the animated ones from the '60s, met up with them at some point. I don't recall, to be honest with you. Um, okay, so like I said, I didn't put a news article in for this week. Um, just too busy, didn't think of it. Yeah, no, that's what I was just saying. I think they did meet Batman. Trying to think, is there anything newsworthy that we could talk about? Everybody's been talking about C2E2, myself included. My point was more on people bullying, and I think I got my point across. I will say this, and I can't remember the name of the guy, but somebody in one of the comments to the video I went live with earlier in the week pointed me out to another channel I've been watching a lot this past week, White Shadow, who was there. Hey, Nix. White Shadow, he might be somebody you guys are familiar with. I wasn't familiar with him until then. And I have to say, watching a couple of his videos, first of all, if you're not familiar, check him out. It is a good channel. I've been watching a few of his videos now. But he gives a unique perspective because he was actually there. And he actually put a video out late yesterday, which I think really kind of outlined the problem and cleared up a lot of some of the rumors, at least from his perspective. And he even included like a diagram of here's the vendor space and here's where we were walking in and this is where people were coming in. And I don't know, in my opinion, it sounds like a lot of failing on the vendor's part and on C2E2's part, which I don't think a lot of people have been pointing out yet. I don't know. I've been at the point where I'm avoiding the videos on it now. And I mean, I have to say, I'm not surprised that the event organizers really didn't do too much in this regard. The last time I went to New York Comic Con, which is I think at this point over 10 years ago, yeah, 2009, I went early to get signatures. I got because they didn't do online ticket orders or anything like that. You had to like be there, and it was first come first serve. So I was I think the fourth person online. I got there at like 5:30 in the morning, and I got a Stan Lee ticket. I showed off my Stan Lee signed Spider-Man poster in my prior videos. Check that out if you haven't seen it. My son's favorite piece of art we have in our house, at least for now. Yep, that's you, buddy. Um, and another ticket I couldn't get because it was first come first serve online. They only gave you one ticket. Was to get to go to a Frank Miller signing. Excuse me. I actually bought a ticket off of somebody for $20 while I was just walking around. And I have to say it was a weird experience. You know, they only had like 100 tickets, and he was promoting that terrible movie, The Spirit, at the time. Excuse me. Which, you know, I never wound up seeing. I think I started watching HBO one day and just shut it off out of disgust. But it was him and Ava Longoria, the actress. This is right before, I guess, right after Ghost Rider signing. And while you're online, I remember talking to the people around you, as you typically do. And we're starting to notice, you know, there's a lot more than 100 people on this line. And we were pretty far up, so I wasn't concerned with missing anything out. One thing I didn't know was that he wasn't signing any books, Miller. You were getting a signed poster for that awful movie. That was about it. And you didn't get to go up to him. It was like there was you and like 10 feet of space between you and Frank Miller. And he was signing and passing, and somebody handed it to you. Signing and passing, somebody handed it to you. Well, he's out there and he's starting to sign, and he's not looking up at all. Like, he didn't look happy. And I don't blame him for this. It just, and then Ava Longoria came out. I saw her for 5 seconds, and all around you, I should say all around me, you saw people jump out with these gigantic cameras, and I realized that these were like your paparazzi. And this is pre-TMZ and pre-cell phone. So these are big flash cameras. And I'll be honest with you, the flash was so bright, you didn't see anything at all. It was all white. And she was out for maybe 5 or 10 seconds and then gone right into the back. So you didn't get assigned anything from Ava Longoria. You got a headshot, basically. I shouldn't say a headshot. It was just like a picture promoting her in the spirit. But yeah, so that kind of gave me a bad taste about Comic-Con, only because I felt like if there were even things like a proper velvet rope or, you know, security or something, that they wouldn't have run into that situation. Granted, I know that most of these events run on volunteers, and look, I've used those to my advantage as well. The same show, I was online to get a signing to see Tom Jane, who's the Punisher at the time. And when I go online, the volunteer right in front of me says, "Oh, no, nobody else is seeing him past this point." Like, I was one behind it. It's like, oh, drats. So the volunteer walked away. And at that point, they weren't monitoring the lines. It was like, here's a sign that says on the end of the line. So I just said to the guy, "Hey, you mind if I just hold the sign?" He said, "Oh, yeah, sure." So I kind of like just busted into it. There's, "Hey, man, I'm going to hop out of here and spend some time with the girl." "There you go. Have a great day." "Yeah. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that." Durs, I got to check your stuff out as well. I know I'm subscribed to you already, but I think I have seen some of your stuff before. Main event had a point on there. Sounds like a lot of people second in buying what should be considered a bootleg. It was not sanctioned. I don't think so. I think it's just kind of the thing that it's like just not going to give it any attention, and it'll go away in time, or you'll probably find it in a discount bin at some point. The one thing I don't like about that, excuse me, I'm dying today. The one thing I don't like about that whole situation with the book is, from what I understand, is they were saying it was supposed to be for the veterans. I haven't read anything, and I've said this before. I have a problem when Marvel or DC put out a variant and say, oh, this is the Pride Month variant. This is the Black History Month variant. I have a problem when they do that because from what I've seen, they don't donate any of those funds to any any of those causes. So basically, it's just a money grab. And look, if Black Flag was turning around and donating this money, fine, great. But from what I've read, I haven't seen anything saying, oh, yeah, no, we donated this money or anything like that. So that puts a sour taste in my mouth, to be honest with you. But like I said, I think this is just kind of the problem of the week, and that'll go away. So channel updates. I have not done an actual video in a while. Been very, very busy at work. Going to be doing some work right after the stream as well. But I do have almost my entire isolation review finally filmed. I just have to do a couple tweaks to it. I hope to have that up at least by Monday. So look that up. And like I said, not this week, but the week after, I actually have a little vacation. We're not going anywhere. We're on a fixed budget. So our travel budget is from the living room to the kitchen. So I'll hopefully have some time to, number one, organize. My wife's out of the room, so she didn't hear that. She knows I have to organize. Hi, honey. But hopefully I'll get some time to shoot some videos too. Hopefully I'll shoot the next Chad video around then too. Like I said, I have to talk to some different collaborators I've been working with. Other than that, that's all I have for you for this week. I appreciate you checking out this video, whether you did it live or whether you're doing the recording. Here in the Northeast, it looks like it's a great day. I understand it's not supposed to be as hot as it's been. So hopefully I get work done in enough time where we can go out and enjoy some of it. But no matter how you spend the rest of your day, again, thanks again for coming. Go and do something. Spend some time with people. It can't all be about comics, right? I guess unless you're reading them together. But with that, thanks again. Peace, love, and comics. Take care.